So there's this TD clone called Sonic.exe The Continued Disaster. As you may have seen, Mephiles the Dark is a survivor in the game. Definitely an oddball choice to add to the ASIM survival horror game, but it isn't out of place. It got me thinking, what if he were in Outcome Memories? Really, he can make sense as a killer and a survivor. As you've read from the title, this concept is for the latter. Intro's over, so let's get to what you're here for. I want to start off Memphis, Tennessee by talking about what makes him different from other survivors. He shares some similarities with Metal. Like Metal, Mephiles only has a single life, and he can't be healed by Cream or Amy. He also has 150 health. Upon his death, he doesn't actually die. Rather, an animation would play in which he'd get sucked back into his seal from Sonic 06. The animation itself would be based on the Shadow Generation's Mephiles fight when he loses. Now, let's get into this expansive moveset I've concocted. Mephiles' first ability is Beam Blade. On activation, he enters a sort of aiming state similar to Knuckles' punch, and he'll raise his right hand. Pressing M1 from here will make him do a 1-second wind-up before extending a blade from his palm in the crosshair's direction. The blade itself would extend over 120 studs over the course of 2 seconds. If the tip of the blade directly stabs into an EXE, the EXE will be stunned for 4 seconds, and the blade will stop extending early. If any other part of the blade touches the EXE, they'll only be stunned for 2 seconds. Piercing Blade would have a 24-second cooldown. Mephiles' second ability is Corruption. On use, he'll stop, place his hand on the ground, and form a circular puddle of corruption. If you're unfamiliar with what I'm talking about, it's the purple goopy shit from Shadow Generations. It's the stuff you see in Chaos Island and the Mephiles boss, to be specific. Standing on it as Mephiles will heal him 2 HP per second. If an EXE steps through it, they'll be highlighted to Mephiles for 3 seconds and the puddle will disappear. Only 3 puddles can exist at a time, and they'd be 10 studs wide each. Corruption would have a 26-second cooldown. Next is the most interesting thing in his kit. This ability is Transform. It acts as a swap between his base and his crystalline form. By default, he takes his base form. On activation, he'll stop in place and outstretch his arms, changing into whatever form he isn't currently. It's based on the cutscene from before Mephiles Phase 1 boss in Sonic 06. While in his crystal form, he has 50% damage resistance, reduced traction, and he cannot heal from his own corruption. His second ability is also replaced with another one. Transform has a 35-second cooldown. The ability replacing corruption while Mephiles is in his crystalline form would be Pillar. On use, a pillar made of corruption will rise on Mephiles' location. The pillar itself would be 8 studs wide and 10 studs high. It would exist for 3 seconds. Mephiles and other survivors can pass through the pillar while EXEs cannot. It's meant to be used as a block for paths, or to have survivors hide inside it. Pillar would have a 28-second CD. The last thing to cover moveset-wise is his solo. I'll keep it short. Mephiles gets 65 HP added to his current HP and 10% damage reduction. This would stack with his crystalline form. The last thing I want to cover here is lore. Mephiles has only appeared in 2 mainline Sonic games, Sonic the Hedgehog 2006 and Shadow Generations. You'd have to choose between him coming from either game. If he comes from Sonic 06, he has every reason to work with the survivors. After all, he needs them alive to go through with his plans and make the events of the game even happen. As for Shadow Generations, if you've gone against him, you know just how desperate he is. "I want to exist" is probably the most pitiful line to come out of a Sonic villain. If he's from Shadow Generations, all he wants is to live. Kinda ironic considering he tried to delete everyone else. He also knows that Sonic and friends are stronger than him since he lost to them 3 times now. Once in his Mephiles Phase 1 fight, the Solaris battle, and then his fight in Shadow Generations. Out of his limited options, working with the survivors to escape is the best one. Another thing I want to say is that I don't think the other EXEs would consider Mephiles to be one of them. After all, Mephiles became a god in Sonic 06 and still lost to Sonic & Co. I think they'd look down on him for it. Especially X, since he compares himself so much to a god, and then Fleetway because Super Sonic beat Solaris. That's it for this concept. 'Tis by far one of my favorites I've made so far. I'll probably get around to the killer version of this concept in the future, and it will share some similar elements to this, I'm pretty sure. In the next week, I'm going to try to do some private server stuff if y'all want to join. Thanks again for watching, folks, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.